Welcome to Module 7. We're continuing on the Resume Builder. We'll be talking about the Summary, Add-ins, and Profile tabs. Again, you can always click Preview to take a look at the resume as it stands from the previous 3 tabs. Now, it will build you a summary that you can use, or you can go in and edit the summary. So you can go in and tweak this however you like. If you don't want a summary at all, you can select this. If you make some changes on here, you can always revert back to what it had before by clicking this. You can see it clears that out. This is free text, so you can put whatever you need to in here. It's recommended to use a summary if you do have a larger work history and educational background, so that you can summarize what's on the rest of the resume right at the top, so that employers can, as they're reviewing resumes, get the highlights, and then if they like what they see, they'll read through the rest of it, I'm sure. A reason not to put a summary in is if you don't have much other information on the resume already, you really don't need to summarize it. Instead, on the add-in section, you'll have the option to put an objective in, which that would be better to put at the top of the resume to highlight to prospective employers what your objective is, how you can assist them, what you bring to a business. So that kind of thing on the objective may be better than a summary. It just depends on how much information you have on the rest of your resume. So I'm going to go ahead and use this, hit save. It's going to take me to the add-in section that I was talking about. And again, the objective is the only one that displays at the top of the resume and can be used as an alternative to the summary. You can include both if you want to summarize the resume, but also tell employers what you bring to the table. So you could use both. Then there's a lot of other add-in sections, which will display at the bottom of the resume. Especially the one references always display at the very bottom, so you can put in some contact information of people that they can refer to. You've got your affiliations, honors, internships, etc. Volunteer activities, which it did mention back on work history tab that if you had a lot of volunteer activities and if you didn't include them in your work history, it would create a big gap in your employment history. It may be good just to put it over in work history instead of here. But if you did a lot of volunteer activities while you were working, you may just want to include them here and explain which agencies you volunteered with, maybe some date ranges of how long you volunteered, that sort of thing, what kind of skills that involved. So what you can do is you select them, however many sections you want to add. You hit add sections, it will actually display all of them. If you don't want to include one, you can always hit delete. You have to put some information in each in order to move on to the next tab. So that's the summary and the add-ins. This next section is particularly long. And it's basically to collect a lot of demographic information and also some information that we use for federal reports. So it is required, quite a bit of the information is required on this tab. We actually put it later on in the resume process just to make sure that they're already invested in completing the rest of it. So they want to get through this to get on to the next page. So employment status is important. So you want to put employed, not employed, so that they can tell whether or not somebody entered employment after you helped them. This does cross-edit to the work history, so you can't put that you're not employed, but you put that you were currently working over here. That will throw back an error. If I put employed, yeah, it actually does it when you save. So there'll be a cross-edit there. A lot of this is WIO related. You'll see here, and some of them have definitions that pop up. It'll tell you about what the definition of low income is, so you don't just have to guess. Displaced homemakers, whether you're a single parent. See, a lot of the WIO ones have definitions just to make sure that you understand how you should answer it. This information does populate over to our case management system, KeySuite, so that a case manager is aware of any of this information. Some of the demographic information you don't have to disclose. Disability. If you select they're disabled, it'll actually have some additional checkboxes, which would be important for our partner agencies to know about, such as vocational rehab. Race and ethnicity. If you say they're not a U.S. citizen, you'd also have to enter additional information, such as your alien registration number, whether you're permanent or a refugee, and when your status expires. If you're permanent, it doesn't expire. Language and cultural issues. Preferred language gets defaulted to English, but you could change it. Skills and literacy issues, legal issues. Migrant seasonal farm work, if you put yes, you do have to put what type. They have different seasons and what type of work it is. And then military background, if you answer yes to that, there's quite a bit of additional information, and it does create an entire section of your military background. And also, like it mentioned over on the work history tab, if a large portion of your work experience is the military, such as you were a career military, you may want to put that over in the work history tab. And now you can put it in both places, or you do want to put it in both places, but if it's a large portion of your work history, you probably want to put it in the work history as well. Now, if you were in the military just for your four years after high school, or not for a very long time, you could then just put it here in the military section. So you'll see here, you have types of veterans. And based on what you select here, you'll see that various fields either get grayed out or lit up or pre-populated. Dates especially. You see it even has a cross edit here to make sure, because you have to be at least 17 and or military service, so it's not going to let me do that. You got some of these are required. You'll see the red asterisks for the required fields, but other information just helps. Some of it's displayed on the resume, some of it's not. The campaign veterans only able to be answered yes if you enter dates in which there was a campaign ongoing. And you also have information about homeless veteran, the TAP program, and the veteran alerts. The veteran alerts happen automatically, which means they get the alerts real time when a job is posted, where everyone else has to wait 24 hours to receive an alert on a particular job. So veteran priority is enforced that way automatically in our system. Now, if a veteran does not want to receive those alerts, they can always change this over here to yes. Service-connected disability, they will know that status if they have it. And then the branch of service will determine which ranks are displayed here. And then the military occupational titles and specialties are here, which they can start typing in a particular code there, and that will help match them to jobs as well, because it does crosswalk over to civilian employment. Once they've completed this entire tab, they can hit save and move to next step, and that'll take them over to the preferences tab, which will be covered in our next module.